pecuária e pescas no floresta, no oceano.
Your mobile phone is now on silent or vibration mode. Molo kita ho itani simpósio ba OceanX nian, halo favor assegura da ligação e ta ho tunia telemóvel e ha ona modo silencioso ca vibração.
Ya, belum ouvintes no telespectadores radio Timor-Leste, kata kelak leortan, ita começa na etnia cerimônia ba Simpóziu OceanX Timor-Leste, na bemaka kolele kona ba Siénsia ba Futuru Azúl. Amina fating convida ita voz sirahoto, ouvintes no arena sirahoto.
So 1 minute. Ba estudantes ser nebe mak ia kotu kadira ia parte oin sei mamo kela nebe bele maitan oin. Atunone hirak nebe to tardi sir bele ocupa mo se kotu. Dali datam ba estudantes sira halo favor bele mailu kerese oi. Inside the goodie bag we also have mug. Please use the mug to drink the water. Water dispenser is available on the sides. Iha itani sacola larang, itamos iha cantil kamak. Al favor, utiliza horihemu be. Dispenser bem inian, disponível ka itasi tautiona iha parte sorsoring. Sese salão. Sese inian. Equipamento ga aparelho para tradução simultânea mos iha. Al favor, bele utiliza. Quando hira ita saiba intervalo ka almoço, bele husik hela iha cadeira letem.
Belum ouvintes no telespectadores sirahoto, e além de entidade sirahoto nebe maka presente ne, se parte segurança, mas olha parte e simpósio irane, odi atau bele participa de compreender que lutamos se conteúdo simpósio OceanX Timor-Leste, ba ia colher com a ciência ba Futuru Azúl. Hoje tema irane maka diangkat ke evento irane bel liga ba Siénsia, pesquisa tasenyan educação no conservação. O objetivo é compreender nos zero de aglutan recurso tase Timor-Leste.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, good morning and welcome to the Timor-Leste OceanX Symposium, Science for a Blue Future, from Science to Action, applying the OceanX Timor-Leste 2025 mission findings. And thank you once again, Les Yaval, for the fantastic opening performance. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Timor-Leste sits at the heart of the Coral Triangle, the global center of marine biodiversity, and our waters are among the richest and most biologically significant in the world. They are also a migratory passage for whales and other marine mammals traveling between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, a living corridor that connects Timor-Leste to the wider ocean and to the world. It is marine scientific research that allows us to understand this world and to translate that understanding into action, helping us use our oceans sustainably and secure its benefits for our people today and for generations to come. We are honored to welcome you here today to witness the scientific finding of this extraordinary marine wealth and to reflect on how we shape our future to develop a sustainable ocean-based economy that protects and preserves what nature has given us. Timor-Leste, the youngest country in Southeast Asia, stands not only as a democratic and vibrant nation, a model of peace, resilience, and international cooperation, but also envisions peaceful coexistence between our people and our nature, our marine ecosystems. The future of our people and of the generations to come relies on an abundant and healthy ocean. Before we begin the formal proceedings, we invite you to watch a short video capturing the OceanX mission to Timor-Leste last year.
At the heart of the Coral Triangle lies Timor-Leste, home to extraordinary marine life and a deep ocean still largely unexplored. In November 2025, OceanX joined Timorese and international scientists to share knowledge, technology, and a deeper understanding on Timor-Leste's ocean, from the surface to the deep sea. Together, they used advanced technology to investigate one of the world's richest marine environments. Beneath the surface, researchers encountered an astonishing diversity of life, documenting deep-sea habitats and species that science is only beginning to understand. Researchers also studied migrating pygmy blue whales, gathering new information about their movement, genetics, and health. And high-resolution mapping revealed thousands of square kilometers hidden beneath Timor-Leste's waters. Together, these discoveries are building new knowledge for Timor-Leste's ocean and its future.
I have the honor of inviting His Excellency Kairala Xanana Guzmão, Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, to the stage to deliver opening remarks and to officially open the symposium.
Because I will talk only 3 minutes, you can... don't sit down, don't, please, don't. I'm very sorry, but I have to speak in our special language, TATOLI. That is why you can use the simultaneous speech. Already? Everything? Excelências, membros do governo, membros do corpo diplomático, parceiros de desenvolvimento, excelentíssimo CEO OceanX, Senhor Vincent Pierrebon, membros de organizações não governamentais, comunidade académica no setor privado, caros cientistas, técnicos ou colaboradores OceanX, caros estudantes, membros da Faculdade de Cira, caríssimos amigos, Lori Governo do Povo Timor-Leste toma Canianaran, maka honra no Xologbot, Hauhato, boas-vindas à equipa, nebe mais missão OceanX e do país. E de botar na presença Mr. Vincent, Hanessa, sinal de confiança para Timor-Leste, e potencial no valor na a miniatassi bela oferece ao mundo. Bem, mas se na bela conhece OceanX, organização iraniana reconhecida no mundo, também investiga maravilhas que a Futuru Azúl e a oceano a tecnologia avançada. Hoje, Futuru Diona, vai do Hare, no vídeo. Banheira, Hatudo Maíta, conhecimento no Bessira Reta, no Hakbesi, público, Batassi, OceanX, inspira Ita Tuari, Futuru Azul ida. Futuro ida não protege o oceano, não liu protege o mar, estômago e a planeta. No governo Timor-Leste comprometido tebes para desígnio que a visão irané. Simpózio irané, no governo Timor-Leste OceanX organiza mudo, expressa tebes vontade de traduz ciência para ação, transforma conhecimento e a política. Não halo a doença descoberta se a Rússia e no oceano bela serve tebes duni desenvolvimento sustentável e a etnia rei. Senhoras, não senhores, povo de Timor luta durante décadas para a liberdade. Bem-ira finalmente ita o Conracigan, mas que foi sai claro que a etnia liberdade labele tode e a tassibum. Também mas que a luta pela delimitação e de fronteiras marítimas, a bela raqueta consiste na luta para a soberania povo e de a determinação na be Hanessa, direito na be Hanessa, a tugosa toma a economia social, cultural ou ambiental, boa na be terra. Aban ao Seba, Indonésia, a tu continua negociações com o país na fronteira marítima com Indonésia. Também mas o in loram e dareba e tenia tassi o ambição fome. E de país, bela raquíquida, mas bem hira até que batasse. E de nós, nação boa, de vestida. Lá os dei também, nia beleza, no nós, lá os também nessa elemento centralida, e aí tem a cultura, não identidade. Mas bem, também é potencial, mas bem, bota lá ali, mas. Oi, é tudo, e tu andei, mas e de bela areia, uau! Timor-Leste situa a região, não é? Com riqueza, vida marinha, bota, liuhoto, e a planeta tão rica. Mas que triângulo de coral. E de Tassi a condições únicas, a tabela observa caré baleias, ou em a Durodiona, golfinhos no animal bolsira e a tassilara, beciclos, rusitassimo, delicador, beciclos. Russi sorincelo, que tinha recifes, russi coral, serve nessa abrigo, no Fatimores, bem cansira, bem invertebrados, baleno, xira, no baduão, xira. Oásis, biodiversidade, nian idane, nessa um verdadeiro tesouro. E é planeta, né? Mas bem, privilégio, né? Lorimos, responsabilidade bode maíta e dia de ver a tu protege, cuida, não lhe liu a aloação. E te teme, e te gosta, e te contente, e te debes, mas foi plástico, só é na fatinha, só é na fatinha. Por aí, estraga, e tinha, está assim. Aloação, assura ameaças globais, nebe ou em lora, sai reais liutan. As alterações climáticas e darei televisão e a Europa. Uau! Incêndios florestais também. São no moço do que era zona. Mudanças climáticas. Foi ainda não e a flores. E a fazer mais. Barberua, Guia Nepal, Uramagás, mudanças climáticas. Mudanças climáticas também, Ramanas e Tinebe, no halo, sa nível tassi. To poluição, nebe, halo, vida marinha da isla dia, ou pesca ilegal, não declarada, não regulamentada. Da maneira macira, a saiba tudo, só é mata dia, só é tudo ali. Danos, castragos, hiracné, e da labela hadiona, ationa. No Timor-Leste, ela ia que a tua soro messa que estragos serné. Proteção oceano exige união. Responsabilidade é a cooperação regional, não internacional. Tem razão, Irene, mas que o governo Timor-Leste convida OceanX a realizar a missão ideia de país, né? Hoje até e a quedas de novembro de Nangodu. Missão Irene recolheu dados com a cartografia marinha, biodiversidade ou ecossistemas, dados na BC-Tulu, e a implementa de equilíbrio e tinha responsabilidades ou objetivos, que tinha política com a economia azul. E tinha jornada a rua passo simples ida. hatene e tinha potencial. Husine e hatene dia, idane. E tem que proteger. Fura que tomate e tem que proteger. Neduni e tem jornada para a economia azul, o passo simples idane. Hatene e tinha potencial e ataciocas. Excelências, senhoras, não senhores, e tem visão com a economia azul, articula a e a Plano Estratégico de Desenvolvimento 2011-2030. A desenvolve na reina tem a visão do Los halorit, lá ia continuidade e a divisão e de berralo continuidade para a ação. Não, e tem a cooperação estratégica e espaço ASEAN e a região Pacífico, não, e a valores objetivos no partilha mútuo e a CPLP. Visão a turmetem e pilares no claros, não, e da maca investigação científica. Investigação marinha científica. Na B articula ao conhecimentos no práticas tradicionais os comunidades Shira. O também vai ou comunidade Shira e articula tia e de halo boné descobre onde comunidade Shira mas científica que Shira mas na em nós tesouro na BIT, nós formação verdadeira, geração azulida, e da Bocira, jovem Cira, e mima que tem que sair, geração azul. A Rússia agora, a não ainda dá quando vai na Bá, Rússia, educação, e da nave, Hareba, oceano. Neo de Russubá, Ministra da Educação, loja do Hanori de 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hanori, a tu conhece ni rei, a tu vi rei de nem. Timor-Leste, a cara cria sistema parcerias científicas no tecnológicas internacionais no realiza ninia primeiro levantamento ou estudo da biodiversidade marinha, o envolvimento na capacitação das jovens, sem a cara que estuda e não é. Favor. Pató. Lá ainda saiu do SI, HI, nessa hubungan internacional. Wow! How are you? Lá, a minha universidade aprende a bahasa. A mesma HI. Buka tu cria aí minha cacuta vontade, a tu loca aí minha conhecimento. Batoia, né? Ciência, científico talvez. Criação de centros de investigação na educação, marinha, ordenamento ou gestão do espaço marítimo nacional, estabelecimento de rede para áreas marinhas protegidas, e Emanuel Tama, e Labela Bacari Canarbiro, criação Parque Nacional e Atauru. Os jovens Sira, Sema Guziaduro, Fude Lima, Lamai. Ito bosir and basema kusiatur fotilima. Ida rua tolo hat in the bem. Mai be imne hat fotilima ne. Mai be iniciativa para conservação iragne lá significa la bela boa e ter recursos marinhos. Ita tengue usa e ter recursos marinhos ou não matenec. A tu cria emprego, rendimentos, oportunidades fom vai ter povo. Segurança alimentar, desenvolvimento econômico, o bem-estar social nessas condições boas vai ter povo. E da cara cria oportunidades e a conservação ou gestão marinhas, mas bem mais. E a pesca no aquicultura, na bem sustentáveis, e o turismo marítimo, e energias renováveis, no, e atividades circelo na bem bela gera emprego, belo fó emprego, emprego no bem digno, vai ter povo, mais bela compromete a saúde oceanonian, tassinian, na bem, e tudo depende ba. E da cara halo, mas bem halo hodidia. Liga-se modelo ida na bem desenvolvimento econômico, proteção ambiental, bela não tem que reforçar. E nem aqui tem política com a economia azul. E nem que simpósio e nem, mas foi a tu ita hotu bela Hanoi. Nós Hanoi deit bela Hadomi e tem tesouro e atasse óculos. Eu agradeço a OceanX. It is in English. Wait a little bit. I thank OceanX for its support to Timor-Leste and for sharing its scientific knowledge and discoveries with us today. I hope that this symposium will inspire other scientists and scientific organizations, as well as universities, civil society, the private sector, and our communities to work together with determination and vision that you will feed us. I hope that today's discussion will translate into tangible results for our people, for our sea, and for a blue future for all. Thank you very much. Obrigado, Barak. Desculpa. Ao colher Barak Leucaric, desculpa, Barak.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your inspiring words and for your leadership in protecting our ocean. You highlighted the beauty and richness beneath our seas, with new species discovered every day. But more importantly, you reminded us that if we do not make every effort to protect and preserve our ocean, we risk losing it. With that in mind, we would like to share a short video aimed especially at our younger generation on keeping our beaches clean especially from plastics, and to protect the health and beauty of our ocean. Please.
Bom dia a todos.
Timor-Leste, nação nebe na cono ho biodiversidade marinha, fura no rico, nebe importante vai tenemos, economia, cultura no futuro. Nebe, riqueza ne agora soro ameaça kusi poluição. Liliu foer no botir plástico, nebe masoer biru e a tasi no tasi ibu. Ita hotu e a responsabilidade a tu protege e tenha tasi no rico soen natural, nebe be ala sira kusik maita. Hamutu tabele hamos no protege e tenhatasi, assegura a biodiversidade marinha, no nia beleza ba geração futuro.
Além sira, liliu jovem na geração, fonsira no roto nebe macassisti ela, labele halua, atu labele soe lixo arbiru, liliu plástico, ba tama ba itania mota, liliu tama liu ba tasi, tamba itarasi kare, ia buat barak nebe musu, gamori sietasi okos. Futuro itania tasi, ia ita hotu ne lima. We are privileged to have with us today the CEO of OceanX, Dr. Vincent Pierrebon, who led and participated in the last year expedition to Timor-Leste, and who will now set the context for the OceanX mission. His research focuses on synthetic biology and engineering novel biochemical activities into cells. He is an adjunct senior research scientist at Columbia University Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory and a research professor at Southern Connecticut State University. He previously served as a professor at Yale School of Medicine and has founded several pharmaceutical and medical diagnostic companies. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Vincent Pierrebon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very hard act to follow, I might add. Well done. So, Your Excellencies, Vice President of the National Parliament, Mr. Duarte Nunez, Your Excellencies, Dr. Alfonso Camano, President of the Court of Appeals, Your Excellency, Prime Minister, Kai Rala Shanana Guzma, sir, Your Excellencies, Minister Marcos de la Cruz, Ministers and Representatives of the Government of Timor-Leste, colleagues from the National University of Timor-Leste, members of the scientific community, distinguished guests and friends, good morning. Prime Minister, thank you for your remarks and for your leadership on Timor-Leste's blue economy. Thank you, sir. We're honored to be here. I would like to thank Ms. Esposito, the Land and Maritime Boundaries Office, the Office of the Vice Minister, the Minister of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Forestry, the Directory General of Fisheries, Aquaculture, Aquatic Resources Management, the National Directory of Quarantine and Biosecurity, and our colleagues at UNTL for jointly organizing this symposium with OceanX. When the government of Timor-Leste and OceanX began planning the 2025 mission, the conversation was guided by questions from Timorese partners. What information was missing? Which part of the country's marine environment needed closer study? How could the research support national priorities in the ocean and the blue economy? From the onset, the mission was developed as a joint partnership. Timorese scientists and officials contributed their knowledge of the country's waters. Government representatives helped connect the scientific work to national priorities. OceanX provided the research platform and operational capabilities, with our international scientific partners contributing specialized expertise. The mission also relied on many people whose contributions were less visible. Government teams managed permissions and coordination. Timorese colleagues worked alongside the scientific teams. The crew of Ocean Explorer created the conditions under which this could happen safely and effectively. I want to thank everyone involved for the trust you placed in the partnership and for the seriousness with which you approached the work. Working at the edge of what we can observe is one of the reasons I chose science. OceanX applies that approach to the ocean. We bring together a research platform, scientific expertise, technology, education, and media so teams can examine an ocean environment from several perspectives. The capabilities aboard the Ocean Explorer allow the mission teams to pursue questions that would previously have been difficult to address at this scale. The Timorese partners helped determine which of these questions were most relevant to the country. I'm proud of what the joint team accomplished. My attention now is on how the resulting knowledge can be used by Timor-Leste and how the partnership can support the work that follows. The expedition is only the beginning of the scientific process. After the vessel leaves, samples, data are research tests and refine their initial interpretations. Some parts of the work progress speeds. For Timor-Leste, the important question is not only what the mission discovered, but how the information can remain accessible, understandable, and useful as the science develops. The government agencies and the UNTL need clear information on what is being studied, who is responsible, when further findings are expected, who to contact and question. Researchers outside Timor-Leste also need to stay connected to the country as the science develops. Scientific and government timelines can vary different. Detailed analysis may take years, while ministries need information much sooner. The partnership should therefore provide useful interim updates, explain the level of confidence in emerging findings, and be clear about what further work is still needed. Science can establish a baseline, identify patterns, measure changes, and reduce uncertainty. It can also show where the available evidence remains incomplete. Government then has to consider what evidence alongside community needs, economic priorities, public resources, and national policy. Scientists should be clear about the confidence that they have in a finding and about the limits of their work. Governments should be able to challenge the research community when the information being provided fails to answer the questions it needs addressing. This symposium has been organized jointly by the government of Timor-Leste and OceanX, so those conversations can take place within the relevant people in the same room. Across today's sessions, we will consider which preliminary findings are already relevant to Timor-Leste's priorities, what requires further analysis, how the mission material can be made easier to use, and which unanswered questions should guide future research. We will also need to identify responsibility. If further analysis is required, someone should be assigned to lead it. If information needs to be prepared in a different format, we should agree who will do that work. If an agency needs technical assistance, we should decide how it can be provided. If a future survey or monitoring program is proposed, its purpose and relationship to national priorities should be clear. The government is considering the establishment of the Arturo National Park, looking at the management of the North Coast, the productivity of fisheries, the protection of marine wildlife, and opportunities for sustainable tourism, and the design for future marine research. The blue economy also brings together areas that are often managed separately. Fisheries, conservation, tourism, education, research, and infrastructure all interact with the same marine environment. Priorities can compete, budgets are limited, and decisions often have to be made before every scientific question has been resolved. The discussions today should help the government and its partners determine where the mission findings can contribute, where additional evidence is needed, and how future scientific work can be planned around those needs. The partnership should also create more opportunities for Timorese researchers. Timorese scientists should be involved in the continuing analysis, the development of research questions, scientific publications, and future fieldwork. UNTL can play an important role in connecting the mission's materials with teaching, student research, and the growth of the national expertise. International collaborations should include access to equipment and data, sustained relationships with specialist institutions, support for postgraduate study, and clear routes for Taiwanese researchers to participate as authors and scientific leads. The proposed Arturo Research and Education Center could provide a permanent base for some of this work. It could lead research with education, conservation, and the practical needs of the communities living closest to the marine environment being studied. A student in Timor-Leste should be able to see the work from this mission and recognize that they can participate in it. They may want to become a marine biologist, engineer, data specialist, filmmaker, or policy advisor. They should be able to work on questions concerning their own country and contribute knowledge that affects its future. OceanX and the government have also viewed the mission as an opportunity to build public understanding of Timor-Leste's ocean. The images and media collected during an expedition can help people see parts of their country that are normally inaccessible. They can be used by schools, universities, museums, and public institutions. They can help explain why marine research and management requires sustained investment. The use of those materials should be planned with Timorese partners. Images need accurate explanations, appropriate credit, and enough context to prevent early observations from being presented as settled conclusions. Materials should be available in formats that local institutions, educators, and communities can use. There's considerable international interest in Timor-Leste's marine environment. That attention can support research, conservation, education, and responsible investment. Timor-Leste's institutions should guide how the country's ocean is represented and how international interest is connected to national priorities. The government and OceanX will continue working together as the research develops. Research partnerships can lose momentum after the fieldwork ends. Preventing that requires clear responsibilities, realistic timelines, regular communication, and continued involvement of Timorese partners as new findings and research opportunities emerge. OceanX and its partners should be accountable for the work we agreed to take forward, and transparent when analysis takes longer and additional expertise or resources are required. By the end of this symposium, I would like us to have a shared understanding of Timor-Leste's priority questions, the mission outputs that may help address them, the outstanding work required, and the people responsible for taking each item forward. We should also agree on how the government, OceanX, UNTL, and the wider scientific team will continue communicating after today. That should include clear points of contact, a schedule of updates, and ways to raise new questions as the findings emerge. In the coming years, I regard success as seeing a Timorese researcher use the mission material to lead a new study, a government team draw on the evidence in a management plan, students work with the data through UNTL and through the Arturo Research and Education Center, and a future marine survey begin with questions developed and led by Timor-Leste. Your Excellencies, ministers and representatives of the government of Timor-Leste, colleagues from the National University of Timor-Leste, members of the scientific community, distinguished guests and friends, thank you for your confidence to have placed in this partnership. To the Timorese scientists, government teams, international research, ship's crew, and everyone who supported the mission and this symposium, we want to thank you for your contribution. I look forward to today's discussions and to agree to work and take these forward together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Pierrevon, for setting the context of OceanX Marine Scientific Mission in Timor-Leste's waters. This brings us to an important moment. Please join me in inviting Ms. Elizabeth Esposo, the Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister and CEO of the Land and Maritime Boundary Office, to present Timor-Leste's consolidated and comprehensive blue economy policy and action plan for the next decade. Without further ado, please welcome Ms. Esposo.
Bom dia. Halo apresentação e apresentação técnica e a linha em inglês. Tá husu em botar headsets. So, good morning, everyone. Excellencies, Prime Minister, distinguished members of the National Parliament, members of government, members of the Diplomatic Corps and development partners, Mr. Vincent Pierrevon, CEO of OceanX, members of the academic community, the private sector, and non-governmental organizations, dear OceanX scientists and technical experts, dear students and faculty members, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to join you today at this symposium, which the Government of Timor-Leste is pleased to co-host with OceanX. As already mentioned, the government has placed Timor-Leste Sea at the heart of the country's sustainable development agenda. And just as the Prime Minister mentioned in his speech, just as we fought for sovereignty over our land, we continue to assert our sovereign rights over our seas. We have given this expression in the government's policy and action plan for the promotion of a resilient and sustainable economy of the sea in Timor-Leste. In short, our blue economy policy. And to realize this vision, Timor-Leste needs in-depth knowledge of its seas and marine biodiversity to identify better ways to protect and conserve it. And that is why the scientific research undertaken by OceanX is so important, and why we are holding this symposium to share this knowledge widely. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now briefly present the framework of the government's blue economy policy. As mentioned in the speeches earlier, Timor-Leste is blessed with abundant marine natural resources of exceptional beauty and diversity, and the wealth belongs to the Timorese people. And it is this understanding that has guided our development of the blue economy policy. The blue economy policy has three parts. Part 1 provides an introduction and overview. Part 2 sets out the strategic framework of the policy and strategic objectives of Timor-Leste's blue economy. And Part 3 consists of the action plan. Part 1 provides a profile of our country's geographical, demographic, socioeconomic, historical and cultural context. And this part sets out data to provide an important baseline for monitoring and evaluation, so that we can measure the progress achieved in developing our blue economy. And as we begin to develop our blue economy, we are fortunate to start with a marine environment that has not already suffered widespread damage and destruction. Everything we now do, we must do well. With strong partnership, solid scientific foundations, and by drawing on international experience, we are starting with a clean slate. Or as our Prime Minister would say, a blue slate. The strategic framework is based on the premise that the blue economy encompasses all aquatic environments, including the ocean, coasts, lakes, rivers, and groundwater. We know that most of the problems affecting the ocean originate on land, including waste and pollution. And therefore, to protect the sea, we must also act on land. It was on this basis that the government developed its vision, objective, and mission for the national blue economy, as you can see on the slide behind me. The implementation strategy comprises 4 main axes, and each axis is made up of a series of pillars covering the main areas of the policy. I will not go through every pillar today, but as I set out the 4 axes, you can see on the slides behind me the areas covered under each one. Axis 1, research, education, and communication, knowing the sea. Axis 2, marine preservation and conservation, respecting the sea. Axis 3, sustainable use of the sea, living with the sea. And Axis 4, supporting the implementation of the blue economy, cross-cutting measures for policy implementation. Each axis contains pillars which set out the subject areas which will be covered. The axis that brings us together here today at this symposium is Axis 1, research, education, and communication, which provides the knowledge and awareness necessary for the success of all the other axes. The OceanX mission collected new data on marine mapping, biodiversity, and ecosystems. And this new knowledge will help us better implement the objectives of our blue economy policy. Today's symposium provides an opportunity to explore how these data and this knowledge can support national policy making, strengthen Timor-Leste's research capacity, and advance our national objectives. To protect, conserve, and promote the marine environment, we need to understand our natural capital and the importance of the ecosystems in providing opportunities for economic development. This includes science, education, and vocational training. We also know that marine biodiversity can only be effectively protected when community practices, such as the Tarabandu, are supported by strong regulatory frameworks and management measures. These must protect not only marine resources, but also the coastal and marine habitats on which they depend. And these include measures such as maritime spatial planning, the designation and management of marine protected areas, cross-border cooperation, and environmental impact assessment regimes. It also includes measures to conserve marine biodiversity, including coral reefs, mangroves, seagrass, cetaceans, fish, and crustaceans. As the Prime Minister mentioned, our blue economy must also create new industries, jobs, and investment. The government will support sectors ranging from fisheries, aquaculture, marine tourism, maritime transport, shipbuilding, and salt production. The Blue Economy Policy Action Plan sets out the pillars and strategic objectives, together with the specific measures and actions needed to achieve them. It also identifies the responsible entities, indicators, expected results, and timeframes for implementation. And the measures and actions will be implemented across sectors with the support of partners and civil society, and of course, municipal authorities and local communities. The measures will be implemented over the short, medium, and long term according to their level of priority and depending on available funding sources and budget. Some of you may think that some of our objectives are ambitious, and achieving them will require significant investment, strong scientific evidence, specialized expertise, and effective regulatory frameworks. And these challenges must be overcome through greater coordination and the establishment of partnerships with dedicated action by national and international stakeholders. Today's symposium reminds us that marine environment is not only an economic resource. It is also a place of extraordinary beauty, biodiversity, and wonder. And we need to share this knowledge widely, especially with our young people. And I am delighted to see so many young people here today. It's important that you understand what we are protecting and why conservation is so important. Protecting our ocean must be a shared national effort. Government cannot do it alone. It requires our communities, scientists, universities and schools, civil society, private sector, and our international partners all working together. And I want to reiterate what the Prime Minister said today. Conservation does not mean leaving our marine resources untouched. We are blessed with an extraordinary ocean, and we must use it wisely to create jobs, livelihoods, and new opportunities for our people. That includes opportunities in marine conservation and management, scientific research, sustainable fisheries, and aquaculture and marine tourism. We have an opportunity now to get this right from the beginning, to develop our blue economy while our marine environment is still healthy, and to show that economic development and environmental protection can strengthen each other. This is what our blue economy is all about. I thank OceanX for its support for Timor-Leste and for sharing its science and discoveries with us today. And I hope today's symposium is only the beginning of a strong and lasting partnership between OceanX and Timor-Leste. Now we must turn our blue economy policy into action. And if we do this well, we can protect one of our country's greatest natural assets, create new opportunities for our people, and build a stronger and more resilient Timor-Leste. Haune Tassi, Haune Timor. Obrigado, Barak. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Postu, for outlining our vision and mission, as well as the concrete initiatives currently underway to achieve our goals. Our next performance by Ego Lemus and A3 Band, performing to you a song titled Tos Naing. This song is about farmers' hard work and parents' sacrifices. It encourages children to study well and build a better future. The song also expresses love for Timor-Leste and national unity, encouraging Timorese people to work together for a better future. Main messages of this song: respect farmers' hard work, appreciate parents' sacrifices. Young generation, please study hard for a better future. Love and protect Timor-Leste. Work together and stay united. Build a better future for the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ego Lemus and A3 Band.
Ya, bom dia, baita hotu, para membuat tenana, para selain sisir hotu, para malu convidado sira, a minha cara dedica música especial na baita hotu, e música da né, ya vai o bolo café manas, e também canta muito, até em fase abonana nia mensagem ohen, e também geração azul, e também geração matak, mas ita protege itinerário, os forro totasi. Atau ita bela importante ita hotu estudo halu dia. Ita canta muito bela galera. Sai Jose uma darer sarakuku, taf manas kopuida manas netikam. Dan. Sai Jose uma darer sarakuku. Manas kopuida manas netikam. Alfarina kolukida ia kongaraya. Horikai ketika bungal dorong panas. Dorong kali vida baruma. Matasa. Oh ando vencida istudian agonia. Alorong itu sintaria. Lalu beliau. Masa inaya berserbisu kome. Bila iman markas baita oan. Oan no vencida istudian agonia. Alorong itu sintaria. Masa inaya berserbisu kome. Bila iman markas baita oan. Sayo seguma dari sanaku, kafe manas kopui dan manas netikamu. Sayo seguma dari sanaku, kafe manas kopui dan manas netikamu. Kalau dia mendorong itu sintania. Bahasa irama servisu kole. Bila lima markas baita on. Cuando vencida estudan halo dia. Mendorong ikusitanian. Bahasa inaaman servisu kole. Villa lima markas baita on. Cuando vencida estudan halo dia. Mendorong ikusitanian. Bahasa inaaman servisu kole. Villa lima markas baita on. Gerban. Udah barang.
Thank you very much, Ego Lemus and A3 Band. Let's give another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I now kindly invite the OceanX team to come forward and receive a small token of appreciation from His Excellency, the Prime Minister, for your contribution to advancing our knowledge of the sea and what lies within it. To all the OceanX team, please come to the stage. First of all, let's give a big round of applause to the OceanX team. This is a special gift. The Prime Minister has invited our young students from universities to accompany the Prime Minister. This is a very special gift, Dr. Vincent. So the Prime Minister is going to come to the stage with our young students. This is made specially for the OceanX team. Alin sira bele fila ho dia teke ba media, imba oing ituan, batang oing ituan. From our new generations to the OceanX team. Dia kalin sira bela entrega ela ba OceanX team. No italori fila fali ni nia fatin, al favor, equipa. De Kiranemak si OceanX team, entrega la a Sua Excelência Primeiro-Ministro. Iha mosi teni sakola larang, al favor, ita bot sirbele hare. Ia goodie bag larang, it's also in the goodie bag. A expedição Lubukira, e pode ser trabalhar diretamente, e ela, a vez ser visita ao mundo toma. Our Prime Minister also would like to also give our ties and coffee to the OceanX team. Avonana ita ia mos café hotai satu foba ita ninia.
dia belum ouvintes no Arena Serroto, iremos kita acompanha depois de a apresentação será com tudo esse Simpóziu OceanX Timor-Leste, onde temos Siénsia para Futuru Azúl. No taman bahasa são essa foto no são troca presentes o primeiro-ministro o equipa Simpóziu OceanX Timor-Leste ini. No na fating i kerang ada tujuan Timor-Leste yang di asisten na fating program sira termai no fiar kat hoy apresentação matéria o primeiro-ministro o chefe Simpóziu OceanX Timor-Leste namos o senhora Elizabeth Spoxto discernia matéria ne bama ko apresenta bela sai bukai ba sirang sirato o saat bela portese recusoi sira i tasi ba futuro Timor-Leste niam nune atau informasi kata Futuru Azúl ba futuro nebe Timor-Leste bela usa potensial tasenian hanesam pesca turismo biodiversidade conservação no pesquisa científica de maneira sustentável sem estragar ambiente tássio. E belum ouvintes no Arena Insira simpósio nelore ema atau ideia form mecanismo compreende tássio liusi pesquisa no dados científicos sira. A metin ciência no tecnologia e área oceano no ambiente. Protege de biodiversidade tassenian inclui espécie no habitat sira. For oportunidade vai estudante no pescador tiburon atau aprende no colabora com cientista internacional. Área economia azul sustentável atau recurso tasse belo for benefício para o povo ou em lorong no geração futura.
O comissário Siu PNTL Indian, ela falou. Who else do we need to invite? Or that's it? Is that it?
Ya, belum ouvintes na horas na down, taman na basasang foto ikusunian o si tinha primeiro-ministro equipa Simpóziu OceanX Timor-Leste, nós membro governo Sira, incluímos o parte PNTL, FFTL, tenente general falou ratalemos presidente Bahia, sessão foto linha. Idane atau for recordação da evento lorong ohenian katak evento memang essencial evento memang importante tebas ba sedang sirahoto ba Timor-Leste sirahoto atau compreende dia kona ba Simpóziu Ocean Timor-Leste niang.
Belemaimos depois irá, né? Speakers, please also join. Al favor. Mana beti? Henlai, media henlai. Speaker sih rene larang hoto na. Mana beti ulun. Okay. Thank you very much, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We invite you to please return to your seats. Excellencies, distinguished participants, light refreshments have been prepared for you. One station is set up behind me for members of government, diplomatic corps, and speakers. And 2 stations are outside for the rest of our participants. Water dispensers can be found around the room. I kindly request all the participants, please use the mug provided in your goodie bag. For those who do not have a mug, paper cups are provided. Please ensure that you place the paper cups in the bins provided. We'll resume the symposium in 15 minutes' time. Ba participantes serhotu, ita ninia café, iha parte liur, mesa rua, ita seitama filfali mai, iha minuto sanluresin lima nelara. Al favor, ba equipamento ga aparelho tradução simultâneo, ita husi kela iha cadeira lete. Ba be, iha keras dispenser be sorsoring, ita bot serbele usa cantil, nebemak iha pasta lara, ou ita mos belhemo usa paper cups e dispenser be nelete. Ita soru fale malo 10:45. We'll see you in 15 minutes. 10:45. Excelências, senhoras e senhores, membros do governo, membros diplomáticos, corpos diplomáticos, itania orador Sira, itania café e aquelas parte kotuk palco ninian, a favor. For all our members of government, diplomatic corps, members of the diplomatic corps, speakers, our coffee is now served at the back room behind the stage. Also, during our symposium, please visit our expo and coffee garden or Jardin Café, just right outside next to the entrance door. And you also receive a voucher to taste the Timorese coffee.
There's something kind of absurd at the heart of life on Earth. In the words of one scientist, it's a cruel joke. And it goes like this. All living organisms need nitrogen to survive. It's a key part of proteins and DNA. And our atmosphere is absolutely packed with nitrogen. But here's the cruel part. The one enzyme that can pull nitrogen out of the air so that living organisms can use it, that enzyme basically falls apart in the presence of oxygen. Meaning that plants and animals and fungi are surrounded by nitrogen that they can't use. The only organisms that can pull this nutrient from the air are the ones that can survive without oxygen. Pretty much just super simple microbes. Because of this, the entire natural world relies on these tiny microorganisms to get nitrogen. This was an ironclad rule of biology. No organism from the complex side of the tree of life could pull nitrogen out of the air. But today, one microorganism has rewritten this rule in a way that could change everything from the future of food to our understanding of life on Earth. It all started in the 90s, on a research boat in the middle of the ocean. On that boat was an oceanographer named John Zaire. Now, John didn't study whales, or dolphins, or coral reefs. He studied nitrogen-fixing bacteria. John was on the hunt for new kinds of bacteria in the ocean, and he was using something pretty cutting-edge for the time: DNA. His plan was to test samples of seawater for a key nitrogen-fixing gene, in the hope that he might find something that other scientists had missed. And, well, it worked. Almost immediately, he found a species previously unknown to science. As he looked at the gene he'd found, he could get a pretty good clue of what this new bacteria should look like. And so he popped it under the microscope, expecting to see that bacteria everywhere, but it wasn't there. He couldn't see anything that matched what he was looking for.
For many years at the beginning of the story, we had found this gene sequence. We would look under the microscope and we could not see them. So for years, we were actually studying this organism with no idea what it actually looked like.
John and his colleagues chased the bacteria around the world, finding fingerprints everywhere, but never finding the bacteria itself. What John could see was the bacteria's DNA, and that was even weirder. You see, it was supposedly a photosynthetic bacteria, but it didn't seem to have the genes to photosynthesize. It had also lost all sorts of other genes that it really should need to survive. In fact, it seemed to have lost about 80% of its entire genome. So how was it even alive? Well, over years of studying this, John started to notice a pattern. Every sample of seawater that contained this mystery bacteria DNA also contained DNA for this one specific species of algae. John realized that his bacteria had been hiding in plain sight. The reason he couldn't see it under the microscope was because all along it had been inside of the algae. And that's also why the bacteria could survive, even with all those missing genes, because the algae was feeding it. This algae was the missing puzzle piece that John had been chasing for years. And unbeknownst to him, across the ocean was a Japanese scientist who'd spent her career studying that exact puzzle piece. This is Kyoko Hagino. She's an algae scientist from Kochi, Japan. And just like John, her story also started in the late 90s with a microorganism that changed the course of her career. She was part of a paleontology research team, studying tiny algae fossils on the ocean floor. Out of all of the little fossils that Kyoko would look at under the microscope, there was one that absolutely captivated her. It was a type of algae called Berudasphera bigelowii. Kyoko fondly just calls it bigelowii.
最初にビゲロイを見つけたときに、それはその形がとても綺麗だと思いました。宝石みたいにすごく綺麗な形をしています。
At certain points in Bigelowie's life, it surrounds itself with this beautiful geometric shell. But no one really knew anything about the algae living inside. This mesmerizing algae, this was what Kyoko wanted to study. But no one else seemed to share her fascination.
そもそもその研究を始めた時には当時のその上司から反対されてました。そういう誰も注目しない研究をしていても就職はできないと。
At the time, Kyoko was having trouble finding a position at a university. At the same time, she was taking care of her young kids and was moving to a new city where her husband had found work. Everything in her life seemed to be sending a clear message that she should just drop it and find something else to study. But Kyoko just couldn't do that. For whatever reason, there was something about this algae that just absolutely enamored her, and she wanted to learn everything about it, even if that meant studying it on her own. So she and her daughter started taking trips to the beach, collecting samples of seawater in the hopes of finding this elusive algae. Over the years, they ended up taking hundreds of these trips. They did this so often that her daughter genuinely didn't know that people went to the beach for other reasons, like to go swimming.
海っていうのは海水を汲むとこでしょって。
Kyoko would then spend hours at home with the microscope, searching for Bigelowie cells and individually picking them out when she'd find them. This was incredibly time-consuming, but it was kind of the only way to study them. No matter what she did, the cells just wouldn't grow in a test tube. For years, Kyoko worked on growing a culture without any kind of university salary. To make ends meet, she ended up picking up a part-time job washing test tubes in a lab. One day, she was talking to one of the scientists there, and he suggested adding a strange ingredient to her culture. It wasn't a chemical or anything else you'd normally find in a lab. It was a type of noodle called tokoroten.
その時までにもいろいろな培養液を試してきて、なかなかうまくいかなかったんだけど、でもまあ一応ちょっと試してみようかと思って。
And to Kyoko's amazement, the noodles were just what Bigelow needed. After years, the culture started to grow.
泳いで数が増えてるビゲロイを見て、ものすごく嬉しかったです。
Now that she had a culture, she could finally grow enough cells to answer some of the big questions about this organism. And there was one big question on the top of Kyoko's mind. You see, over the course of her many years studying Bigelowi, she'd noticed something kind of weird. It had all the normal components of an algae cell, but then it also had this other thing.
教科書に載っていないものを見つけて、なんだろうと不思議に思いました。
And just as she was puzzling over what it could be, she stumbled on an article that had just come out in the American journal Science. It was John's article. The article followed the story of his hunt for the invisible nitrogen-fixing bacteria and ended with his theory that the bacteria was likely living inside of a species of algae called Barudosphaera bigelowi. That strange object that Kyoko had noticed, it was the nitrogen-fixing bacteria that John had spent so many years searching for.
Our paper came out. She realized that what we were studying might be that black body, and she found that this thing she had been studying actually had the same gene sequence that I had been chasing for years. Neither one of us knew that the two things went together.
いいえ、誰かがビゲロイの研究をしているとは全く想像してませんでした。先を越されたと思ってとてもショックでした。
Kyoko and John had both spent their careers trying to solve a scientific puzzle, with no idea that they each held the other's missing piece. And now that they had a culture, they had the chance to unravel a mystery that would end up going deeper than they'd ever imagined.
Let me explain. You've probably heard of symbiotic relationships in nature. Two organisms each helping the other out. The fish from Finding Nemo is a good example of this. It looks after the sea anemone in exchange for a safe place to live. But these relationships can get closer and closer. You have organisms that live inside of other organisms, like corals, which get food